Peaky Blinders Season 6 has come and gone for me, and I definitely have some thoughts on this show as a whole and for this season. So spoilers are ahead if you have not watched Season 6 of Peaky Blinders or any other season. I may reference another season also. So without further ado, let's get into this thing. So the final 6 episodes of the Peaky Blinders are out for your consumption, and you know what? I felt like it was a solid final season, but it wasn't the best. Right? I have a weird relationship with Peaky Blinders. I really like the show. I have made a video about it before saying, there's a real disconnect for me because it's so British and it's set 100 years ago. There's just some things I just don't understand. Obviously, I get what's going on. Like I get the context of the show. But there's just little things that I just have no real connection to being a British person, let alone being a British person in the 1920s or, the 19 teens or the 1930s. So there's that little bit of disconnect there, right? But with that said, the final season feels a lot smaller in scope at the same time, though, wanting to be bigger in scope, if that makes any sense. So let me try my best to explain what I mean here. So the final season here, Tommy's kind of tackling a lot of things here, right? Like he is getting more into politics, he's trying to tackle certain political groups, and he's also doing his underworld business and stuff and all that good stuff, right? At the same time though, we don't see too much of it. We see some parts of it, don't get me wrong, but as much as they talk about it, they don't really show it. Compared to other seasons, they definitely did more show than tell, and I feel like this season they definitely telled more than showed, if that makes any sense. I definitely thought the first episode was really good. It was a good pickup from season 5 because it has been 3 years since we've seen any of those characters. Thought that was good. And then we kind of get into a lull. Honestly, like 2 through 5, I thought those episodes were pretty okay. Like I enjoyed them, but they really didn't blow my socks off. I definitely felt like some things were rushed, and I just didn't enjoy that. Like usually it takes a full season for Tommy and the gang to figure out, who the rat is, who's the mole, who's the bad guy, and eventually it builds to a point and we kind of understand it and we get it and we know as it's building. But this season, like all of a sudden it's like, we have a mole in the organization, and it's like, boom, we gotta take him out in an episode. It's like, I get it, that probably did happen, like that's a realistic possibility, but it felt so sudden. And another thing too, like I get what they were doing with killing his daughter due to TB, but at the same time, why did they have to give him a son? And I get it. Again, that stuff happens, especially back then and all that good stuff. But it just felt so out of left field. It was like, why? It's not even necessary at all. Truly, it's not necessary to have him have some gypsy son that he had, 20 years ago, right? I don't know. I thought that was a bit weird. It felt rushed. It felt out of left field. And then at the same time, we see Finn, like 4 times in total the whole season. And I know he was always the back end brother who wasn't mentioned too much because he's always younger. I don't know. I thought that was weird. And then all of a sudden, like, he turns on the Peaky Blinders at the end. Maybe there's context going back to season 5 that I don't remember all too well, but at the same time, it just felt odd, right? It just felt weird. But nonetheless, they pretty much wrapped up everything in season 6. All the main storylines but one were pretty much wrapped up, and it was enjoyable. The final episode was enjoyable. Tommy and Michael's beef finally came to a head, and Tommy won, of course. And one thing I forgot to mention too was Aunt Paul. Paul was gone the entire season because sadly the actress passed away in real life, so that was a big gaping hole within the show, and they tackled it fairly well, but still she was definitely missed throughout the show. I'm not saying it was the best finale because it did leave some things open-ended, and I'll touch on that here in a second. Again, like I was saying, the main enemies were pretty much defeated in one way or another. Tommy made sure his people were protected, got the money, like how he set up all the drug trade with Alfie going into Boston. He made sure that was done. Because the whole time you kind of have to assume like Tommy's not going to sell out his people at all, ever. He's not that person. And also he's not a fascist or a communist or anything like that. So he's obviously playing the game. So the main thing that's open-ended, obviously Tommy thinks he's dying the whole season, and then he does figure it out through kind of like a vision with his daughter that he's not. He was being had by the fascist doctor this whole time, right? That he had, I forget what it was called, but pretty much tuberculosis in the head. Whatever the technical medical term is for that, I don't remember. But anyways, he thinks he's dying, but evidently he's not. He figures it out. He's not. The doctor admits it, that it was all a ruse. blah, blah, blah. So he's kind of a new man at that point. He doesn't kill the doctor guy, but it leaves it to be very open-ended that, Tommy's going to have to take on the fascists in Europe and all those people that are going to be coming to Europe in just a few years, because this season is set it starts in 1933, in December 1933, but it ends in 1934. So we're only 5 years before the invasion of Poland, and obviously World War II kicks off after that. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually do the movie, what that will tackle and what year that will take place. I think it'll be very interesting that if the movie takes place, say 5-6 years from now, like during World War II, like how and where is Tommy, the family, how they dealing with the war, like how they're gonna make money off the war, because obviously everything's a gamut at this point, right? They're always trying to make money. But it'll be interesting how they deal with that, because it very much is open-ended of he needs to take care of Mosley. I think that's the main bad guy, who's the fascist guy. There's obviously a lot of beef still there because he killed a lot of Tommy's people in the season 5 finale, and I don't think Tommy's going to forget about that as long as he's alive. So it'll be interesting how they tackle that within the movie, if that is actually made eventually. But regardless, Peaky Blinders season 6 and the series as a whole is a very, very strong series. I definitely would recommend it to anyone who is into Boardwalk Empire, The Sopranos, Sons of Anarchy, anything to do with kind of old school gangsters and some way or another. This is right up your alley. I think it's a very, very good show. It's very solid. I'd give it an 8 out of 10 as a whole, and I'd give the final season probably a 7 out of 10, and then the finale right around there, 7 out of 10. I wish they would have wrapped it up all the way, but I get what they're doing. They're gonna make even more money. I get it. I totally understand. So hopefully in the movie they wrap up Tommy's character for good, and we kind of see where everyone truly ends off, but we'll have to wait to that point if the movie's actually made. So with that said, what are your thoughts on Peaky Blinders season 6 and the series as a whole? Let me know down below in the comment section, and while you're down there, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. Until next time, guys, everyone have a great day. Thanks for watching.